gentlemen, I am Professor Dr. Mowadat Rana. I am a professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences from Pakistan. Uh, I am currently serving as the chair of the Pakistan Red Crescent Society's task force on COVID-19 response. And one of the huge concerns that I've experienced working with people these days in their lockdowns is how to spend their time. The challenge that has come forward is completely different to human beings of this era, at least, and that is not what they're conventionally uncomfortable with, how to structure their time. There's so much they have to squeeze into these 24 hours that it all seems too little for life and for all that they want to achieve. And now we are facing an exact opposite challenge of what to do with this long hours at our disposal, sitting alone, doing nothing at our homes in this lockdown. So I thought I'd share my views as a psychiatrist and a student of human behavior with you on this issue. Now, the first point that I want to make is that somehow we have been programmed right from the word go that when you do nothing that is practically doing something, going to a job, studying, opening up a book, or in playing somewhere in a field, that is fine. But if you are seen sitting somewhere in a corner, quiet, that means you're wasting time. This is how we are programmed. Now, let me share with you with this experience that I had of traveling to Maldives some time back. And as I came out of the airport, I saw this amazing signboard. It says, "Welcome to Maldives. Here we have perfected the art of doing nothing." To me, that was amazing. That was something special. And I can share with you that on that holiday, probably I enjoyed the most doing nothing. Because number one, I did not feel guilty about it. So I think one of the most important messages that you and I need to have while we are spending our time doing nothing these days is not to feel guilty about it. Now, if you just reflect a little bit and look at all the images that come to your mind when I spell the word Buddha, if you sound this word and now picturize Buddha in your mind, you would always find Buddha sitting in a serene posture with eyes closed, hands in a particular position, and doing nothing. And you would not find any signs of any guilt on his face. And you and I remember that he did that under a banyan tree for several days. And the light that he saw was not while plowing the field or doing something really special in his life. He was sitting alone, doing nothing under a banyan tree, and he found answers to questions that had never been answered before from his times. And the answers that he found are relevant even your and my life today. That is the importance of how much you can achieve when you're actually doing nothing. In the next couple of minutes, I'll try and highlight to you that when you are doing nothing, what is all that you can actually do? Well, one of the most important things to realize is that doing nothing actually is a preparation for doing a lot. For example, let us look at our heart. Heart works in two states. It depolarizes, that is, it contracts. But then what does happen after the contraction? Good, it relaxes. If it didn't relax and fill up with all the blood that is coming from the periphery, it will not be able to pump anything out. Similarly, if you look at the importance and significance of your brain going to sleep at night. Now, sleep is like charging your brain. It's like charging your mobile phone. Now, if this mobile phone didn't charge last night, would I be able to use it today? No, I wouldn't. So, was I feeling guilty or this mobile feeling guilty for not being functional last night because it was getting charged? No. So, you have to start to believe in the fact that human beings, in fact, the entire nature actually operates in two modes. One, the doing mode, when it ends up doing a lot. But if it is going to do a lot, it must also go into another mode, and that mode is the being mode. muscle, the heart, the brain, everything actually goes through these two phases. And if we can learn during these COVID 19 times to enjoy, not to feel guilty, and actually feel great about the importance and significance of doing nothing and being in a being mode, that is when you would start to realize all the wonderful things that can happen in these days when we feel actually miserable sitting alone and doing nothing at our home. Let me give you a simple example of what you can do during these times. Well, one of the most important things that you can start to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to start to go for reflecting upon something that you always wanted to do but could never do because there was no time in your life, because of the productivity that was handed over to you or reproductivity handed over to you. Uh, you couldn't do this work, although you wanted to do it. This was a work of inner calling. Lucky are those people who are in a profession where that profession is also their inner calling. What I'm talking about right now is a work that you wanted to do, but you didn't, or you couldn't get an opportunity to do. This is the time to actually do that. And the next thing that you can do is even more amazing. And that next thing is actually to start to understand the concept of uh, getting connected with a part of you that you've often not visited uh, most times in your life, and that is your inner being. This connection with the inner being, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't require any internet connection. In fact, it requires no connection at all, no net, no net. And this you can achieve the way Buddha did it, actually sitting in a serene corner, uninterrupted, not for several days, maybe for 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And in this time, what do you end up doing? Well, the best thing to do is what we Pakistanis and Muslims call a wazu. That is cleansing yourself. When we are offering prayers, we do a wazu, which is cleansing ourselves and body parts with water. This I call a spiritual wazu. Before you go into this mode, get into a spiritual wazu, spiritual cleansing. And in this state of serenity, and in this reflective meditative state in which you can get induced through such deep breathing exercises, relaxed, calm, no noises around you, sitting in that corner uninterrupted for 45 minutes to an hour, and doing this spiritual wazu. And what do you do in spiritual wazu? Well, try and first of all cleanse yourself by forgiving people. Like start to think about people that you have a lot of anger and rage about. You feel a lot of vengeance for. And these are the people that you can bring to your mind at that time and start to forgive. This state of forgiveness, this state of getting rid of emotions like shame and rage and anger and guilt actually cleanse your inner world in the same way that you cleanse yourself before you present yourself in for example, a prayer. This state of wazu, of a spiritual nature, actually prepares yourself actually to do three things that you can then do in this spiritual no net connection in this world that you have created for yourself, the inner world. What are those three things? First of all, to try and empathize. That is, try to be that person you always felt was against you. You have so much of anger and aggression and vengeance about, and you've just tried to forgive him. This is your chance, because with those feelings you'll not be able to empathize with him. Now that you've forgiven him, you can go and stand and look at yourself from his angle, and actually you might find several reasons for the kind of emotions and behavior patterns that he has showed towards you. And this empathetic exercise, this exercise in empathy, is going to further augment your reasons of forgiveness. And you will feel really cleansed even more. And after that empathic exercises, giving up thinking about people who once were your enemies, you would find yourself charged and feeling even better. Next is to actually go into a state of gratitude. there are several things that human beings tend to think about constantly in their lives that they've not been able to achieve. I had a friend who was very happy achieving 50% marks. And when I would ask him, what are you so happy about? He said, I have 50 marks. Well, I was actually miserable for getting 80 marks out of 100. He was happy for getting 50 because he was happy with what he had. I was unhappy with which I didn't get. So this state of gratitude is actually closing your eyes and reflecting upon all the beautiful things that you have in life. And this can range from your family to your resources to these moments of glory that you've had in life. We may not really have deserved all that we got. And to then get into this state of gratitude is amazing. And then, of course, the next exercise that you can do in this state that I'm talking about, sitting alone, doing nothing apparently without feeling guilty, is to enjoy the moment. Dilate this moment in which you are and enjoy the beauty of the sensations of here and now. The enjoyment, or we have a beautiful word in Urdu for it, which is lutf, which is feeling ecstatic for being here and now in this state. And this is when you can actually enjoy even your heartbeat. You can enjoy even the sensations, the beautiful sensations that are coming from your body. You're doing a little body scan. And even this breathing that you are doing is going to sound rhythmic. This heartbeat that you have here. And if you can start to hear this somehow while you're breathing, you would find there's a song that your spirit is singing. There is a beat and there's this song that your breath is singing. And this state in which you're just concentrating on your breathing and your heartbeat is going to make you feel so special. Yet, during this period of time, just like Buddha, ladies and gentlemen, you've done nothing. And still, for the first time in your life, not feel guilty, but actually wake up feeling great. I hope it works for you during COVID times. Thank you very much. Okay, and a couple of more things, ladies and gentlemen, that might interest you for doing when you have so much time at your disposal and you're trying to find out what to do when there's nothing to do. Well, what are those two things? Let me start by making a recommendation to you. Have you ever tried falling in love with yourself? Well, not to the degree of becoming a narcissist, but to actually respect, be friendly, kind, and loving to yourself. You know, the most ignored person for many of us in our lives is our own self. COVID 19 has provided us with an opportunity to actually do exactly that, reconnect with yourself and consider falling in love with this person who's looked after so many lives, who's looked after and touched so many existences in life. And this particular person sometimes feel neglected and ignored. If you can start to today fall in love with him or herself, you'd really be surprised with the response that you will get. Caring for this person at a spiritual level is what we are trying to do right now. But spiritual self is not the only self that I have. I have a mind, I have a brain, I have a heart, and I have a body. All these components of me required to be nurtured and loved. Is it not important that I get my due share? I tell you, when you're doing this, it's not being selfish. Actually, when you take care of yourself, you are taking care of all the other people who are in some way connected with your life. And therefore, don't consider it something evil or selfish that you are doing. By taking care of all that you've enjoyed doing in yourself, for yourself, is something really, really useful and important in life to do. How do you do that? Well, your best friend in this is yet again your brain. Brain has this amazing capacity of enjoying by defeating time and space. It can overcome the barriers that time and space produces. That's how the whole concept of virtuality is built. So you can, during these times, meditative times, when you try to be a mini Buddha in your life and you find that corner, in that posture, how about visiting all those people that you've loved in life? You'd surprise with the comfort, with the pleasure of reconnecting to your loved ones. These people that I'm talking about came into your life, enriched it at some point, and then left. You've never really thought about them since then, and yet they contributed. I have in my life my teachers from my school, my friends from my school, people who played a significant, important role in my life at some point, and yet I've never thought about them during all these years. COVID-19 is going to give me that time now, actually reach out and reconnect to them. Well, you can do that on internet as well. Try and dig them out through Facebook or whatever, and write to them. And that will be one way of doing it. But if that is not possible, even just sitting and thinking about them is going to fill you with pleasure. Actually, you are allowed to actually also in this pursuit think of all the people that you've loved. There's no crime in thinking about them. I'm sure even your spouse is not going to mind that as long as you're doing it virtually. But is there anything else also that you can do? Yes. And that is to try and reconnect to those relations of yours you've long neglected. You never really thought about them because they're not important in your current scheme of things of life. This is the time to actually reach out to them. And when you're reaching out to them, you're looking after their needs, their specific requirements these times. And when you're going to do that, I can assure you that you will love yourself for doing that. So there are ways of loving yourself that you can invent now during these COVID-19 times. You may not get this opportunity again. Do it. Thank you.